It's a spooky week number 8 in the NFL with games falling on Halloween, and it's time to get prepared to make some wagers with the Barber brothers. Welcome to Betting with the Barbers, powered by Superbook Sports. I'm Ron Kruk, joined as always by former New York Giant Tiki Barber and former Tampa Bay Buck Rondé Barber. Hello, men. I got to ask you, do you have some big costume plans for Halloween this Sunday?
We are going as a family as Alice in Wonderland. So my wife will be the Queen of Hearts. I'm going to be the Mad Hatter. One of my daughters will be the Cheshire Cat, and then Brooklyn will be Alice. So it'll be fun.
Very impressive.
My kids are out of the house. I'm empty nested. I might even be home. I might leave some candy. I don't know. But I'm going to Kansas State's homecoming, buddy. That's where I'm going. I'm gonna dress up like a Jayhawk in Kansas State. Let's see what happens to me.
Big win for Kansas State last week. You guys got to feel bad because they got the head coach at Texas Tech fired last weekend.
Yeah, unbelievable. Well, hey, at least leave some candy out there, Rondé. Come on.
Oh, I know. Look, my wife is a Kansas State Wildcat graduate, so if I show up in a Jayhawk outfit, I think people will respect me because they gave Oklahoma a heck of a game last week, man. It was fun.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, well, it's before we make our predictions, fellas, for Week 8, I just kind of wanted to quickly hit on a trend that we've seen so far this NFL season, where some big-time double-digit favorites are covering more than they're not. Last week, there were 3 huge double-digit favorites, and 2 covered easily. One, your Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Rondé, 12-point favorites, easily beat the Bears by 35. And then there was the Cardinals, who easily covered the 20.5-point spread against the Texans. Only those pesky Detroit Lions kept it competitive against the Rams and covered the 16 points spread. But, we used to say the NFL was too competitive and bad teams weren't that, much worse than the good teams, but it doesn't seem to be the case this year. What's your take? Why do you think the top teams in the NFL are covering these large spreads?
I think because those 2 teams that you just mentioned have rookie quarterbacks that aren't very good. And this was the week of the blowout. I mean, there were 6 games decided by 22 plus points this week. So really, what's the real question? We knew that Tampa was going to kill Chicago because Chicago's quarterback is just, he's so green. He's like a little cubby bear now. He's not a full bear yet. And then what's the guy in Houston? Stanford guy. Davis Mills. Are you kidding me? There's no chance that he has the ability to put enough points on the board to keep up with the spread. So I think if you're trying to be variable in your betting, look at these teams with quarterbacks that are having to play that probably weren't intended to play against good teams, and that spread's going to be blown way out of proportion.
Yeah, Ron, I think the other side of this too is that the teams that you're talking about, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Arizona Cardinals, are really good on offense. Yeah. And so if they're given any leeway, they're going to run away with the opportunities that are presented to them. And, we're not in college. It's not like, we got to respect you and keep the game close. If you're going to allow a team to score 50, they're going to score 50. Right, the New York Jets gave up 54 points to the not too great New England Patriots, by the way.
That was unbelievable. So far, the double-digit favorites, guys, this season have covered 8 out of 11 games. And week number 8, there are some massive underdogs, including the Dolphins getting 13.5 versus the Bills, Texans getting 14.5 against the Rams, Giants plus 10 at Kansas City, and the other New York team getting 10 points at home against the Bengals. Well, let's get things rolling and feature our first game of the week for week number 8. That's the New England Patriots, fellas, coming in with a 3-4 record. traveling to LA to take on the 4-2 Chargers. Now, don't look now. I mean, it looks like the Patriots have turned things around a little bit, but again, that was against the Jets, but they scored over 50 points, as Tiki pointed out. So far this year, the Patriots have kept it close against some of the top teams like Dallas and Tampa. Chargers are coming off the beatdown that they suffered in Baltimore, but they had a bye last week to regroup. Superbook.com odds coming in. The Chargers opened up as a -5.5 point favorite. The line has remained steady, still at 5.5. Now the over/under opened at 47.5, and it's moved up to 49. Of course, lines are subject to change, but let's break down our first matchup, the Patriots and the Chargers. Tiki, it's all yours.
Yeah, this one is a hard one to look at because history will tell you that the New England Patriots are going to go out there and play well. Last year, it was Justin Herbert's worst game of his rookie season. They lost 45-0. He had 49% completion percentage and 2 interceptions with no touchdowns. And also, history will tell you the New England Patriots play well against teams coming off their bye week. They're 9-2 over the last few years. And so they know how to prepare and get ready for teams that are rested, so to speak. I love where the New England Patriots are. I would take them getting 5.5 in this game. Damian Harris, their running back, has rushed for 100 yards and a touchdown over the last couple of games. And Mac Jones, when he doesn't turn the ball over, is as effective a rookie as there is right now at the quarterback position. I know it's a tough trip going all the way from New England all the way out to Los Angeles, but I like Bill Belichick getting his team situationally ready to play a really good Los Angeles Chargers team who has been getting gashed defensively the last couple of weeks. 38 points per game they've given up the last 2 games.
Well, I know we don't script this, but I gotta disagree, people. I just don't. And by the way, Ron, the unders this year, 76% unders are winning this year, which is crazy.
Wow.
It's like, is this the lowest score NFL in history here? So I look at this game, and it comes down to one thing. Can the Chargers bounce back after the bye week and the drubbing they took from Baltimore? At home, I'm going to say yes. I think this line is correct. I still think Justin Herbert is one of the best young quarterbacks in the football. Joe Burrow notwithstanding, of course. He's top 10 in yards and TDs. He's got great receiving talent in Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, and Jared Cook, same birthday as the Barbers, by the way, 15 years younger. He's still balling at 31 years old. They have the offensive firepower. Now, their defense does concern me, T, because they're last in the NFL versus the run. But they are near best against the pass going up against a rookie quarterback. So I like them because they take chances. They are the opposite of New England. Mac Jones he's good, right? He can play. He's shown some flashes. Their defense is stingy. But they're 3-4 because they haven't closed out close games, and they found ways to lose games that they probably should have won. Can they hang with the firepower? Jacoby Myers, Kendrick Bourne. I mean, these guys. I don't know. Hunter Henry's coming back to his first team. I don't think that matters. I love Damian Harris because he has big time potential. But they played an incredibly incompetent team last week in the Jets, right? And they dropped just a complete efficiency bomb on them. Robert Saleh's defense was just completely overmatched. I don't think it'll be easy to replicate that against a rested Chargers team. And this is, you talk about the road game. This is the farthest trip that they'll have to play all year. So I think this line is correct. I'd give the Chargers 5.5 easily.
5.5 point favorites are the LA Chargers. I like it. The Barber brothers disagreeing on game number 1. That's what we're talking about. I'm jumping on with Rondé on this one. I think the Chargers have been sitting around on their bye week thinking about that loss to Baltimore. And I think Justin Herbert will bounce back from that loss and play well. I think the Chargers will cover it. Be prepared coming into week number 8 by staying on top of the latest lines and line movement at superbook.com. Download the Superbook app today and get in the action. Make sure that you are following us on social media as well at Superbook Sports. All right, game number 2. And quickly, just a note on on the Chargers quarterback. Herbert comes in. He has 8-1 odds, according to Superbook, to win the NFL MVP. Game number 2, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Don't take it. Don't take the MVP odds. Nobody take them. No, Brady solidified it again with 4 touchdowns. It's 21-7 games already for the Bucs. It's over with, people. It's done.
Well, you can still make your bets though at superbook.com. Don't worry yet. You can throw those in there. All right, let's talk game number 2, fellas. Pittsburgh Steelers 3-3, traveling to their rivals, the Cleveland Browns, who are 4-3. Huge game for these two teams, trying to keep pace with the Ravens and Rondé's Bengals in the AFC North. The Browns, guys, still look like a mash unit. Injuries galore, and it looks like at this point that Case Keenum will get his second start, with Baker Mayfield revealing he has a broken bone in his left shoulder and a fully torn labrum. Browns still have that solid third-ranked rush defense in the NFL. That's going to be a key, taking on Pittsburgh's top running back, Najee Harris. Pittsburgh will be well-rested coming into this game off the bye week, and that's a good thing for the veteran quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger. Superbook.com odds. Cleveland opened, guys, as a 3-point favorite. They are currently, as of this morning, a 3.5-point favorite. The open for the over-under was at 44 points. That's gone down to 42.5 points. Rondé, break down this game for us.
Well, Cleveland finally stopped their 3-game slide versus your now floundering Broncos last week.
Yeah, it's a tough one. That was a brutal game. Brutal game of all aspects.
And look, Pittsburgh's won 2 games in a row before the bye by sticking with Najee Harris, who's averaging 23 touches and 101 yards in the rushing game. I love that. But I think Cleveland are clearly the better team here. They have one of, if not the best offensive lines in the NFL, as evidenced by leading the league in rushing. And guess what? It doesn't matter who's playing running back. No Chubb, no Hunt. Mr. Trebret, give me Dearness Johnson for 146. Like, who is Dearness Johnson? I have no idea who that dude is.
Denver has a way of making heroes out of guys like
making heroes out of guys. But to the point, it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback. They're 27th in the pass. They're not asking the quarterback to win games for them. This is a Pittsburgh team that's, preventing teams from scoring, yes, and easily. They have one of the most impactful players in football in TJ Watt, which, by the way, the defensive end that most impacts the game between him and Myles Garrett is going to be fascinating to watch in this game. But otherwise, I don't really like Pittsburgh on defense. I don't think Devin Bush is who they think he is in versus this run defense, and they don't take the ball away. So Cleveland's just going to methodically beat these guys. Ben's playing better, yes. He's playing steady, but he's unspectacular. He's not the guy that we once knew that he was. Perhaps he'll come out motivated because this is a division game. But Cleveland has the second best defense in football, man. And Pittsburgh is not as explosive as they once were. Mike T's my guy, but I see this as a low-scoring, close game of attrition that Cleveland covers 3.5. They're playing at home. They know where they sit on the table, so to speak, in the AFC North, and they know they have to win this football game.
Tiki, do you agree?
Rondé's throwing a lot of stats at you. I mean, if you forgot that Myles Garrett's leading the league in sacks and pressures, and with 9.5 and 9 tackles for a loss.
Did you see TJ Watt win that game the other day? Did you see?
Yeah, that's my point. I mean, by the way, Dearness Johnson is one of the great stories in football. We had him on my radio show this past week. He was at USF. The reason he didn't get any burned because he was sitting behind Marlon Mack on that team. So he graduates, has nowhere to go. He's fishing. He's on a fishing boat. That's how he made money to take care of his kid. He sent letters to the AAF, every team. He sent him a note imploring him to get him out there. He goes and plays. He leads that league until it collapses, gets a chance in Cleveland, and here he is. You're right. It doesn't matter who's running back. Cool. But this kid, Dearness Johnson, is a stud. And you watch him play, he's dynamic. I love what they're doing. In Case Keenum, by the way, we forget in 2017 when Kevin Stefanski was the offensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, he went 11-3 and had 21 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions. Case Keenum's going to be fine for this Cleveland Browns team, maybe even better than Baker has been for this Cleveland Browns team. However, this is an emotional week First of all, Ben Roethlisberger is 23-3-1 against the Cleveland Browns. All right, he just dominates them. Second of all, they're finally running the football. Over the last couple of weeks, Najee Harris has gotten off, and they 32 carries and 133 yards per game on the ground. So they're getting back to their fundamentals. But I think the thing that you're discounting, Rondé, is the emotion of this game. We forget the Cleveland Browns beat down actually the Pittsburgh Steelers in the wild card round last year. It was 28-0 in the first half. They have not forgotten that. They ended up winning 47, I think, to 38 or whatever it was. It became a game, but they have not forgotten this in Pittsburgh. And let's also not forget that Mike Tomlin's pissed off right now, not because of anything that's happened in football, but people are speculating that a black coach with the Pittsburgh Steelers would leave the greatest job in football to go coach the USC Trojans like that was a promotion. I mean, it's insulting that even we would even suggest that. I know that it was out there, it's been talked about, but I like the emotional win opportunity for the Pittsburgh Steelers here. It is a division game, as you say, Rondé. It's 3.5 for a reason. It may be close. I'm going to take Pittsburgh getting 3.5 in this game. They may lose this game, but it's not going to be a blowout.
Barber brothers battling it out in week number 8. That's 2 disagreements already, and this one I'm going with you, Tiki. I like Pittsburgh in a tough, AFC North battle. I think the Steelers are coming off that bye, and they've won 4 straight coming off a bye. I like the emotional aspect of this game too, getting some revenge. I just think it's going to be a close one. I just think it's going to be one of those old school throwdown, battles that we have seen between these two teams for so many years. I just think Pittsburgh keeps it close.
Yep, the black and blue division for a reason. It's going to be ugly.
Yep, exactly right. Heavyweight battle, both guys just thrown down.
I'm wanting Mike T to win. I just don't think they're going to cover 3.5.
I say that almost every week. All right. Well, it's now time for the Superbook Sports Barber Brothers Games of the Week. Both guys will pick their games of the week. And remember, before you lock in your picks, make sure you keep on top of the latest lines at superbook.com and download the Superbook app today. All right, Tiki, all you. What's your game of the week?
The Atlanta Falcons are hosting the Carolina Panthers, and they're laying only 3. Not forget, the Carolina Panthers only scored 3 points last week. Sam Darnold was benched for another AAF star, PJ Walker, at the end of that game. Sam's been sacked 21 times after a hot start down there. We had 10 total touchdowns, 5 rushing, 5 receiving, and he looked like a resurrection project. He's a shell of that right now. He's getting beat up. He doesn't throw an easily catchable ball. And as a result, Robbie Anderson, who was supposed to be a stud on this team, has the worst catch percentage in the National Football League, 36.7%. Odell Beckham is second on that list, by the way, at 47%. But it's been bad for Carolina. It's been really bad for Carolina offensively. And the defense that at one point was number 1 in the NFL is 20th. For 3 weeks, they were number 1 in the NFL. Do you know how hard it is to go from 1 to like 24th in total defense in 3 weeks? Right. So it just tells you how bad they have been. And Atlanta is starting to turn it up. They're starting to crank those screws, and it's all behind Matt Ryan. The last 2 games, or last 4 games, I should say, they're 3-1, but he's a 10-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, and it's all because of Kyle Pitts, who's got 467 yards in his first 6 games, which is the most for a tight end starting. And it's because he's not a tight end, by the way. 40% of his snaps he's lined up in the slot. Another 38% he's lined up out wide. And I guess as a tight end, he's like 20-some% as a tight end. But he's become dynamic. He's become reliable. I like Atlanta. The line is 3. It should be 10. They are going to run away from the Carolina Panthers, who are in complete struggle free fall mode right now.
Falcons opened up as a 2.5-point favorite, gone up to 3 now. And really, as you said, Tiki, these are 2 teams going in opposite directions. Panthers struggling without McCaffrey, and the Atlanta Falcons offense suddenly clicking with Matt Ryan and Pitts. All right, so let's now flip it over to Rondé. What's your game of the week?
I was very tempted to go with the Titans Colts because it's another division game in the South, and Ryan Tannehill played his best game. But I watched Carson Wentz play last week, and I was like, I don't think I trust him right now. I love Jonathan Taylor because much like Kyle Pitts for Tiki, he's on our fantasy team. But I wanted to go with that. He's a baller, bro. He is a baller. Anyways, I went with Cowboys and Vikings, and just because I wanted a good NFC matchup this week. And no disrespect to Packers Cardinals game, that's going to be probably the game of the week. And people were asking me if I was going to do Tampa New Orleans because it's Tampa New Orleans, but no, I don't trust New Orleans. I like Cowboys and Vikings. And look, the Vikings are on a 2-game win streak finally, and Dallas has found a way to win every single game since they lost to Tampa in week 1. And by the way, on that run, they have covered every single time. They were underdogs twice. They covered. They were favorites 4 times. They covered. The Dallas Cowboys are a fantastic watch. Now, we know about them, right? They lead the league in points and yards. We've talked about how good their skilled players are numerous times. However, they still have the 5th worst pass defense in the NFL, despite leading the league in interceptions. What does that tell you? It's difficult to count on that every week. Just, I'm going to play it close, and then Diggs is going to give me a spectacular interception. We're going to win the football game. But they've done that so far. I just can't trust it. And consider that Kirk Cousins, right, is playing like a top 10 quarterback finally, right? He's had some moments. He's only got 2 interceptions this year. So I think this game at 2.5 for the Cowboys, it's very, very intriguing. Vikings have put up a bunch of yards, right? 415 yards a game, I think, or something. Thielen's still catching TDs. Justin Jefferson's a great player. Their runner, Dalvin Cook, when he's healthy, he's one of the top 3 running backs in football. And Tiki, you remember this. You remember when Minnesota had a formidable defense?
Yep.
It was a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
They're young on the back end. They get after the quarterback with Danielle Hunter and Everson Griffin. But look, Dak is a bad man. And this is a good bet for me because them boys are better than a field goal than the Vikings, even the Vikings at home. The only reason this is intriguing to me because the Vikings are playing at home and they're giving 2.5 to the Dallas Cowboys. And I think the Dallas Cowboys are better than 3 points than the Minnesota Vikings.
If I may say, Dak Prescott has a calf injury. We don't know how healthy he's going to be. And here's a stat on Kirk Cousins. There are 3 players in 115 games that have thrown for 30,000 yards and 200-plus touchdowns. Peyton Manning, Dan Marino, and Kirk Cousins. Just saying.
Yeah, that's pretty. That's one of those. That's not.
It's one of those what stats. Like what?
Yes.
What?
I mean, you only get this insight right here on this show. I mean, you guys are dropping stats like crazy, man. I'm impressed.
We were stat guys when we played. It had to be.
You know what?
It gave you insight.
Man,
it gave you insight on it gives you insight on what teams may or may not try to do to you.
I love that. And no spoiler alert, but it's going to lead perfectly into our viewer question of the week. But we're not getting there yet. Hey, quickly, this was an interesting line with the Cowboys and the Vikings. This opened up as a pick'em, according to Superbook Sports, and now it's gone up to the Cowboys -2.5. Over under opened at 53, and it's up to 55. Odds makers are expecting some points to be scored in this one. Both teams coming off a bye week, which we'll see, as Tiki mentioned, how healthy is Dak Prescott. And on the flip side, Dalvin Cook for the Vikings. They did get a week off. All right, guys, great stuff. Time now for our bet or bust segment, rapid fire predictions. 3 teams that you are either going to bet or you are going to bust. And our first team, here we go. We're going to take a look at Thursday night football, probably the game of the week, and the Arizona Cardinals. They are a -6.5 against the Green Bay Packers. Arizona 7-0, Green Bay 6-1. Arizona opened as a -3.5 point favorite, but with Adams and Lazard, who were placed on the COVID-19 list as of this recording, we're not sure of their status to play on Thursday night football. So the line moves up to Arizona -6.5. Tiki, are you betting it or are you busting it?
I'm betting this one all day. Kyler Murray is an MVP candidate for sure. I don't know what his odds are. I'm sure Riggs can get it for us, but Kyler Murray is playing great football. And by the way, it's not because he's just dynamic running around in the pocket and picking up yards with his legs. 51 yards a game he averaged last year. You know what he's averaging this year? 18. Why? Because he's staying in the pocket and delivering dimes downfield. He had a 3rd and 24 last week. They played cover 2 behind him. He threw a perfect strike, 41 yards downfield to A.J. Green at the 4-yard line. It was one of the most beautiful throws you'll ever see. The DB's like jumping to grab it. The sinking cover 2 guy can't get it. It's right where it needed to be. He's been doing it all day. I like this off. Nobody can stop this offense. As Rondé mentioned, whatever it was, 3 or 4 weeks ago, because they do so much quirky stuff. I love them laying 6 here.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Tiki. They did that last week with Cliff Kingsbury being on in the COVID protocol all week too. I mean, it's like that doesn't even matter who's coaching. It's interesting that you.
Yeah, and he's the play caller, right? He's the play caller.
Yeah,
he's not even there.
It's interesting you brought up that play, Tiki, because I was doing some other work at $1 the other day, and some guys were asking me about that throw. So I pulled up the play. Right, it's cover 2. What he does is get that safety to work towards the middle of the field. Then he has to try to make a baseball turn, but he did it on purpose. And he was in the way he set up in the pocket. I was like, this dude is 5'10", and he just threw a 40-yard strike like it was nothing. And the way that he set up the defenders and basically the whole defense to make the throw, it tells me that he is on a different level than he has been in his other 2 years in the NFL. This guy he's a stud. I take him. I take the points on him every single week, man.
Yeah. Well, someone's against the spread. Win streak's coming to an end. The Cardinals are 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 games. Packers 6-0 against the spread in their last 6. What a great way to kick off week 8. And of course, our producer, Mike Rigg, got us the MVP breakdown. Murray comes in. He is right now, guys, as the 3-1 favorite to win the NFL MVP award. Brady, 7-1.
Wow.
There we go. All right.
That's about right. That is what it is.
I agree.
Let's keep it rolling with bet or bust. Our second game. Do we really have to talk about this? Denver is a -3 against the Washington football team coming here to Colorado. The Broncos opened as a -4 favorites. Shockingly, they probably shouldn't be 4-point favorites to anybody. It's maybe my son's high school football team. I don't know. Guys, Denver -3. Are you betting or are you busting? We'll go Rondé.
I'm gonna go betting it for the same reason that Tiki was almost talking about. Was the same reason what Tiki was talking about with the Atlanta Falcons in that Carolina game. Yeah, just go with the trends. Yes, that Denver's losing some games here, but they're still playing pretty good defense, right? And Washington looks incompetent at times on offense. We mentioned that last week. Taylor Heineke he's just a guy right now. So 3 at home with a Washington team that really seems kind of disjointed and not able to find ways to win. Their productive players on defense are just not productive. I think Teddy Bridgewater finds a way to bounce back at home, and I would definitely take this.
Yeah, I would bet this one as well. I like Tyler Heineke, and I think Antonio Gibson's a good player, and McLaurin's a good player as well. But something's just not clicking, and now you're going to fly across the country, play at Mile High Stadium, and it sounds like, oh, it's just Mile High. I mean, the Mile High altitude is not going to affect you. It does affect you. It makes you parched and thirsty, and you just feel worn after like 3 or 4 plays. And so I think for a team that's been struggling, maybe with conditioning, I don't know what it is, but they don't look like they're getting after it, the Washington football team. They don't look like they're getting after it all the time. Bet this one all day.
Yeah, I'm joining in. Well, shocker there. I think there's so much on the Denver Broncos right now to turn this around, especially with their defensive performance last week, letting Johnson run all over against them.
Oh, man.
They've got something to prove this week. I think they'll get the cover as well. All right, third game. Are we betting or are we busting? Guys, the Chiefs, speaking of beatdowns, how do the Super Bowl runner-ups respond after getting destroyed by Tennessee last week? And man, Patrick Mahomes, I thought he got knocked out. I thought I was calling some fights. That was a massive hit that he took. But the Chiefs are -10 favorites as they welcome in Tiki, your New York Giants on Monday Night Football. Tiki, are you betting it or are you busting it? Are you taking the Chiefs?
I'm busting this, man. I'm busting this all day. And by the way, this is one of the great money lines that you'll see all week. And there's some big ones as well. Miami Dolphins are +600, as according to Sportsbook, Superbook, I mean. So at the end of the day, that sounds awesome, man. Put 100, I get 600. The Dolphins have no shot at winning on the money line. The Jets, same way. They're +350. They have zero shot against beating the Bengals. The New York Giants at +360 might be the best money line bet of this weekend.
Wow.
Why? Because the New York Giants actually are playing good football. They just make stupid mistakes, and that's why they've lost a lot of games. But when they're clean, like we saw last week, and Daniel Jones does Daniel Jones things, like I told you like a month ago, he's the best athlete on that football team, making that one-handed snag and not making any mistakes. Kansas City's faltering right now. Pat Mahomes is so in his head trying to be the superstar that everybody's propped him up to be, that he's making stupid mistakes. I know this is on the road, and I know the Giants aren't great, but I'm busting this. Giants, getting 10, take it. And in fact, if I had an extra couple $100 laying around, throw it on the money line because that's a big return at +360.
I was getting ready to say that we were going to disagree on the regular bets and agree on all of these, but Tiki, I know you love your Giants, dude. No chance. No chance. You played in Kansas City, right? You've been there.
Yeah, I did. They did, but the one time I was there, they treated us well. Just in full disclosure, it was because it was after 9/11, and so it wasn't the hostile environment that everybody's used to.
Well, this is going to be a hostile environment. There is. You talk about a wounded animal being backed into a corner. This is what the Kansas City Chiefs are right now. And
maybe they're not good, or maybe they're not that good.
That could be the thing.
Teams drop 8 now. Hey, Pat, he got exposed. Your dude, Todd Bowles, exposed them. Drop 8, play coverage. Pat Mahomes doesn't want to run. He can. He doesn't want to. So he scrambles around and does stupid stuff. So maybe they're just not that good. Defensively, they're not having a good
weeks ago. Weeks ago, were we talking about the New York Football Giants being a terrible football team? And yes,
they're injured. I've never said they're terrible.
Hold
they're
on.
injured football team.
Okay, maybe I said they were terrible. They go out and dominate a Panthers team, which you just told us was falling off a cliff, so to speak, metaphorically, as a football team. And now all of a sudden we feel good about the New York Giants. Do I like
the Giants? Have lost games. They've lost games because they jump off sides. They lost games because literally on the last play of the game.
Kansas City, and you know this as well. We always talk about our fantasy team. Patrick Mahomes is on our fantasy team. They're losing games, and he's still putting up monstrous numbers. Do you know why they lose games? Because they turn the ball over in the red zone more than any team in the NFL.
They can't stop.
They lead the league in turnovers or giveaways, I should say.
17 on the season.
If they have a game,
if it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. They're a turnover-prone team.
I could listen to this all day long, guys. And you know what? We should do a watch party for this game with you two going at it. I mean, we might need to set that up. But this was supposed to be rapid fire. Just to recap, Rondé's going with the Chiefs and Tiki's going with the Giants. So that's going to be a lot of fun. All right, hey,
nonsense.
I got to keep this rolling. Let's get to our viewer question this week, guys. And man, all you got to do to our viewers and listeners is send in a question for the guys. And you might be hanging with the Barber brothers in Las Vegas on Super Bowl weekend. It's just that simple. Send in your question via Twitter to @SuperbookSports, @Rondé Barber, @Tiki Barber, and @Ron Kruk, and you're in. It's just that simple. We were talking earlier about you guys are stat guys. You're throwing numbers around like crazy this week, which I love. And so this leads into a perfect viewer question. Coming in from Carrie Frank, great question. Guys, which one of you was the biggest bookworm in high school?
Oh, it's not even, man. Like, it's not even, like you want to debate here? There's no debate. This is not even.
This isn't a debate. You know what? Which one of us looks like he's the cool twin?
Which one looks like they made straight A's the entire time?
Which one of us looks like he would put on glasses and push him up his nose and button his shirt to the top button? And,
I had my glasses here somewhere.
Oh, I needed that prop.
I know, I did. I had them, and they're gone. I don't know where I put them.
Definitely, I will give him credit. He's not even a bookworm. He's just a nerd. He just everything's easy. Your brother valedictorian. I don't think he ever had a B.
Yeah.
Wow.
From 8th grade on, never to be. Never. No.
Ask the question the other way. You should ask it the other way. Which one of the twins likes to have more fun?
Well, I majored in management information systems and database design, and could program in C++ and COBOL and all those things. It's all gone now, but
that's impressive, nerd.
We love nerds. We have
that is the best. What a great question coming in from Carrie Frank. Thank you. We really appreciate it. You can send in your questions anytime during the week at Superbook Sports, and you will, if we read your question on air, automatically put into the drawing for a Las Vegas Super Bowl weekend hanging out with the Barber brothers. Guys, that's all the time we have. It's going to wrap up another episode of Betting with the Barbers. I hate to even ask this because our producer's losing his mind right now, but any thoughts before we kick off week number 8?
It's getting football weather time.
I bet you Tom Brady throws for 4 more touchdowns this week.
Mm-hmm. He threw for 4 touchdowns in his bye week, I believe.
I know.
By the way, just one Bitcoin for his 600 football. Just one.
By the way,
that's a 1 of 1. And there's not going to be another. There's not going to be a 2 of 1, 2 of 2. That's 1 of 1. Nobody's throwing for 600 touchdowns.
What makes 600 the arbitrary number? I made this point on Twitter the other day. A dude challenged me on it. You want his last football. That's the one you want. You want Mike Evans to do a dummy throw his last touchdown. What if the touchdown, that ball that he threw in the stadium at the end of that game is Tom Brady's last touchdown? That's the ball you want.
That's the one you want. Great point, guys. Hey, listen, happy Halloween to both of you, and enjoy the games as we kick off week number 8.
You as well.
Cheers, Ron. Cheers, Tiki.
All right, man, you guys were battling today. I love it. We got to work on that watch party. Make sure you sign up at superbook.com. Download the Superbook app for the latest odds, and follow Superbook on social media at Superbook Sports. Betting with the Barbers airs on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Tell your friends, and make sure, again, to look for clips of the show and picks throughout the weekend at Superbook Sports. You can check out the podcast version on both Apple and Spotify too. For Rondé and Tiki Barber, the battling Barber brothers, I'm Ron Kruk. Enjoy the games as we kick off week number 8 in the NFL.